Hello and welcome to UK Versus, bringing you theories, news and more, win, lose or draw. I am joined as always by Cameron. We've had a hell of a week. We local championships are now done, regionals are currently underway, and then we immediately go into season 2 of the LCs. Following
I
up
believe so.
at the end of May with another regionals, which seems absolutely nuts. We will be joined by the TTP daddy himself. He's just getting his dogs back home. I'm going to quickly fix the chat, although I don't expect too many people to be watching live because the top four and the finals are going on. How are you doing, Cameron?
It's been a week. My computer at work exploded, so been dealing with that. And it turns out I may be smarter than the average tech support person. So that's kind of funny. Me famously not knowing how technology works.
You're going to have to elaborate on that.
So my workstation exploded in all but a shower of sparks. I went to a different workstation, and half of my settings were still tied to my printers at my other workstation.
Mm.
And one of them wasn't working. So as I'm watching the tech guy in my computer, remote controlling everything, I noticed a setting and I was like, hey, what if we lined up those settings so they match? That might fix part of our problem. He goes, oh, I don't think that's a problem. Turns out that was. And then I also figured out how to fix a bunch of the other presets that no one had figured out how to reset. I just managed to fumble my way through it, so.
I mean, sometimes a fresh pair of eyes just is a great way to do it.
As I said to my wife whenever I was helping her with her business homework, sometimes you just need an idiot's perspective.
I mean, yeah, an idiot will give you a perspective that people that have been doing it for ages might know. It's like when it's one of those things that you give tough jobs to lazy people because they'll find the fastest way to do it.
Exactly. So yeah, that was the last 2 days of my work week, was dealing with that, and now I just have to wait for my work to provide me a new computer station. So that's fun, and then I get to spend a day or two getting all that set up.
That's. I mean, it's mad because Response and Play have just had computer issues themselves. So, is there something going around?
Maybe. I have no idea. I just know that my station was really old, and unless they're forced to upgrade, they don't like to upgrade. So my computer just finally decided, enough's enough.
My computer's too old to upgrade because he kept going, oh, Windows 10 is going to be unsupported after this date. Upgrade to Windows 11. And I was like, nope, your computer is unable to upgrade to Windows 11. I'm like, cool. So
That's what my boss's computer did, and then her computer crashed, so they had to upgrade hers, and then now my computer crashed, so now we have to upgrade mine, because, like I said, they don't like to shell out the money to upgrade us to better equipment until it's absolutely necessary.
conspiracy theory, the computers now have like a shelf life, and once you get past that shelf life, they just start to die.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory anymore. I think that's
That's how computers
what do they
work.
call it? Planned something. I've heard this term before, where it's like, no, they design it to die in a few years, and you need to upgrade it.
I know there used to be a lot of jokes in media like, "Oh, the new iPhone's coming out, so just ours are gonna fall apart and like the phone would explode or just like completely crash."
Yeah, I've definitely heard it, especially with phones, but now more so with computers too.
I'm a bit tired because I decided to jump in on a Grand Archive Pantheon event where you can only use the precons unedited because I'm a fairly new player, so I wanted to just do this in a way of, oh yeah, I'm gonna just go with what the give this a go, and it took 3.5 hours, and it gave me proper Commander vibes because about an hour and a half in, someone board wiped. I'm like, cool, we're restarting, and then 3 hours in, someone board wiped, and I'm like, it is midnight. I wanna go to bed. But I'm not. I'm
That
not conceding.
sounds properly awful.
I won.
Awesome, but at what cost?
The cost was that nobody thought I was a threat because I had nothing left. Because the champion I was playing relied on me having stuff on my board, and we'd just been board wiped. I was like, cool, I have one thing left. And then it turned out that that one thing got incredibly powerful at the end and got me the win. I'm like, oh, cool, but we'll get into that. So, at some point, hopefully, Suri will catch up. But we're going to talk local championships. We're going to talk a bit about the event season, organized play, and characters. And as we have the Chicago regionals kind of wrapping up as we go in, and we've got what the first one was the first one TOT versus TOT, or was that TOT versus Reiner?
Might have been the TOT versus Reiner if my locals told me that the finals was gonna have. It was TOT versus Reiner.
And TOT
and
won?
I believe the Reiner won.
Nice.
I'm skipping through.
Okay.
The Reiner won now.
Yeah, the Reiner had a hell of a climb to get there, and then we also saw an Annie that kind of went through the gauntlet, facing I think 6 or 7 TOTs and primarily coming out on top. Honestly, I think it's just a great testament to, as much as TOT is a problem, the Titan of Terror can be handled. The Annies, the Rhiners are finding a way to do it. We've seen a fair amount of Godzillas and Ghidorahs during Swiss as well. It's a rough situation to be in. I was surprised.
And I will say, not just the Annies and Rhiners, because I went undefeated at my locals yesterday, including facing Titan of Terror with fresh cut grass. So sometimes you just need a 36 plus health to just wait them out.
Well, that's just it. We got like King of Monsters being 34 health, 6 hand size, 3 damage to everything is still an absolute menace. We got to see that in the Swiss as well. Pumat Sol doing very well at the TTP event, the biggest local championships in like season 1, and the finals was Pumat versus Pumat. So we, just essentially, there's a lot of characters that do unfair things in unfair ways.
Yeah, imagine a character that can just free build 3M. I wonder what I was screaming about, 6 months ago.
Absolutely. I mean, City Rampage got hit, but Titan of Terror never needed it. It's slowed Godzilla down a lot. Godzilla is not turn 2ing people anymore, unless they've had an insane turn 1 build and an insane turn 2 look. But, that's going to be the exception, not the rule anymore, because it used to be City Rampage, check grey, you're dead, and I've not had to use any resources.
Yeah. I'm watching the end of this top 4 match just to see where we got, so I can give an accurate call. It's Reiner's turn, and I'm pretty sure. Man, it's hard to read any of these cards, especially when they're fancy, flashy alt arts.
So
I think it's Reiner. I think Reiner gets it.
So
yeah, Reiner got it. So it's going to be Reiner versus either Mothra or Titan of Terror.
Mothra made it to top 4.
Yeah.
Oh damn! So yeah, I mean, Mothra's
Mr. Mothra doesn't got it.
I mean, no, I'm happy to say I underestimated Mothra. I'm more surprised that a 7 hand size character has been able to kind of get this far, because that
2 Mothras made it to top 16.
That ability to guarantee block 1 is good, but I think this is more a testament to the pilots, because if you use that ability wrong, you just die.
Yeah. And I think the ability to perfect block something, aerial Kokosho, and if you, at least the way that me and my friend Brett Hillman built our Mothras, we focused on using Don't Do This and military police squad or whatever, the stuff that gives 1 damage and stun 1, to basically stun you out on your turn, and then just wipe you on like turn 2, turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's a very strong control, kind of prisony, but really really strong.
yeah, but I mean, against Titan of Terror, you can see where the issue with that is. You got they play their attack. You go cool. You throw your Kikosho down. They take the 7. You don't get the minus speed. They're stunned down. Just go cool. I'll play Queen of the Monsters from my discard, and you've got nothing left to block it with.
Well, that's why you wait until they throw the free attack, and then you do all that. You can still play normal
Yeah,
universes,
no,
and I have never thrown an arrow Kokosho for less than 12 damage. I don't know what this they take 7 is that you keep saying. Yeah, we play damage pump. So, no, I've never thrown an arrow Kokosho for less than like 11 or 12 damage. Hey, he's here. Hey, I thought I was gonna be the late one, but
give
it's
me
all
a
good.
second. Give me a second just to add you in, and then we can.
Which was insane. So
Yeah, I was
one
just
was
watching.
playing out
I
of
was
his
just watching
mind.
some of that.
Yeah, Wubs on Reiner.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reiner is the one that everyone is kind of backing here. Where have you gone?
And now they're showing like the Mothra list. Okay, good. Yeah, we got the violent anima shots. Those are what I would use those too. Neat, neat. Pretty good list.
So, how's your week been, Suri? Sorry, TTP Daddy. How's your week been?
It's been extremely busy.
Cam,
It's
Cam has no. Cam, do you have any context for this?
LC's travel.
The TTP daddy? No,
Yeah.
I don't have any context for that. I figured it had something to do with the beard.
No.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got three.
I was bummed.
Yeah, you can finish your point.
Sorry, is there a slight delay on your end, or is it on me?
I'm not too sure.
It might be on you because you seem pretty all right.
Okay, I just want to make sure. No, I was gonna say I was very bummed that I wasn't able to go take Roy to Chicago and terrorize some people in a nice little stacks present for everyone. So
Yeah, that would have been hilarious. I'm glad to see that Roy list video that I made was taken off as like it is. People are like, "Man, that deck sounds just miserable." I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the point.
I mean, 2 back to back, right? Dejanette and Roy. So you really
I'm
want
all
to put
I'm
people
all
in
about
prison.
those miserable decks.
I mean, that's
the
kind of the
king
point.
Of prison.
Yeah.
I'm the king of I'm not locked in here with you.
But yeah, we're gonna have 3 kind of different perspectives of LCs. We've got Suri, who has travelled to pretty much every single one that he could get to, as well as hosting the biggest one that of the entire season. You got
I
myself.
wish I could have gone to that one.
You got myself, who attended one, and I streamed it, so I was kind of watching the event. And Cameron, who has been just watching people go to them and finding out stories that way.
Pretty much.
So, from a traveling point of view, how has it been just traveling around the US and like checking out all the events and all the different metas?
Yeah, it's actually been pretty incredible, right? I've been very pleased with the change since last year, where I would go to an event and it would be myself and another person who would make up the LC. And that would be on a lucky day to play it out for a playmat, right? And so going to these events and seeing minimum, 10, 12, 16, in a lot of cases, 20 plus people is a big change of pace than what I've been used to in the past year. So I think that was great. I also think what's interesting is you're starting to see which stores and which regions really still care about the game and where the investment is. And so that was cool, like to see, the folks in Colorado where they, hosted a regional still being active and being a part of that community. Tons of little hubs in Indiana that, you would never think have a substantial community have 23, 25 people come out to their LCs. And so, what I think you see with the LCs, especially in areas that have, a gravity of players in that area, people are willing to travel and they're hungry to travel and play with each other and be a part of the community. And so that was probably the coolest part, right? Is seeing a lot of different people that I'd never seen before, seeing those communities gather and get back into the game, and I know some people have left, but I've also seen people come back in and say, "Hey, I haven't been playing in a year or so, but I saw 20 plus people getting together, and I wanted to see what it's about," right? And that was great to see as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great conversation with Trev, who got top four with Jester at the Patriots LC, and he's got a really cool story because he played UFS back when the game was first starting out, and hasn't played in 15 years. So went from Legacy to Reign of Kaiju with nothing in between.
That's a hell of a leap.
Yeah. So
He's looking at this. What's a blitz?
I mean,
Power tokens.
Yeah.
Let's talk about new card types.
Yeah, Roman cancel tokens.
I mean, you've also got to go through Echo and all the other stuff that's on there. The fact that ranged isn't a keyword ability anymore, and safe, although being reprinted, doesn't do anything.
Backups. that man had a hell of a time.
Not to put a bit of a down on the beginning of the conversation, but I know you guys did a great interview with Levi that came out last week. But listening to the video, again, not to be like the biggest downer, I don't think the LC success is to be accredited to UVS. I think this is a community win. The amount of presence and community spirit that has come out from these LCs to kind of push and get the game to grow, and the stars that have been advertising daily, weekly, that have been doing the giveaways and the raffles and everything else in between has been so uplifting. Sean from Patriot did everything he could to make the season one region LC feel like a regional with single vendors and the stream setup and having like proper floor judges, even just for the 21 people that were there. Yourselves at TTP did everything that you could. I know, like I said, there was other ones. Chris Smith with the Bar Hat Games was pushing it absolutely everywhere.
Counterspell Games in Jacksonville. We had the folks in New Zealand who came out. The other store that wasn't Akiambra. Yeah, the community came out in full force, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
And I do love that a lot of the people have actually taught some of these stores what an LC means, because now the one in Tulsa that was going to be on a Tuesday has been moved to a Sunday because they had a lot of people come out for theirs, and they were at the store till 1 a.m, and they didn't want to do that again. So I might actually be able to. I might actually be able to attend one next round.
Guess who sent 2 people to that LC to make sure
you did? I know.
16.
So, I had heard about that, and I was like, because I sent one of my guys up there as well to scope it out, and I know Tam and Rebby were there, and I was like, man, I wish I could, but I just can't with work right now. And they're like, well, they're moving the next one to Sunday. I'm like, I could probably take a Monday off. I might be able to actually go next month. Hell yeah! So I might actually be able to travel to one tournament this year.
I mean, there was a few that did them
I I
on Tuesdays. The weirdest one for me was the player capped ones at under 10. Like France, although only three players showed up, they capped their event at 8 people. It was great to see 5 people coming in through Belgium, which was cool. Uh, Technically, we still have a season one LC that needs to actually be played because unfortunately the store that was going to be running got robbed, and while they're repairing and everything, they can't do anything. So they've been given special permission to host those later on, and they're thinking of trying to possibly do a weekend where they have an LC on each day.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool. So then you could just make a weekend out of it.
It would be a really cool kind of thing just to go for that. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned for the one that Cam was on about, TTP have kind of been everywhere. Yourself, Mitchell, Rebby, Tam. I've been posted up and putting pictures out of just wherever there's an LC, Team Trading poster have had a presence almost.
Like the UVS Mafia, they're everywhere.
well, it's more that look. So I know where you were going with that, Brett. Right? Is that it's kind of like glass half full, glass half empty kind of perspective, right? It's hey, it's great to see that these LCs are taking off, but that's really a credit and testament to the community more so than the company. My perspective is a little bit different because I'm not a person who has the historical understanding or perspective that people do coming from Legacy, going even into the My Hero Academia era, right? Like I started playing in AOT 3 pre-release was my first event, right? So this game, I unfortunately found out after buying a lot of product, was on the downswing, well before that time period. And so I kind of have a realistic perspective on what is available and what needs to be done and what resources are there. And unless your name starts with Rift and ends with Bound, unfortunately, there is not many resources that are available to this game. And so, with the limited resources that are available, it's what direction are they going in, and who do the people that are left there to steward, organized play? How connected are they with the community? I don't know about the previous organized play people and what they did, but I felt there were some boneheaded decisions, right? Like gatekeeping a game that has 1,000 active players from attending their best, and celebration for everyone, right? Ending, organized play in a region that, kickstarted the game, and has historical legacy and richness in that community. I think these are all like problematic decisions for sure, but those were decisions that were made in the past, and those were decisions that I can't adjudicate or change or go back and invent a time machine to
Yeah,
go fix or rectify. And so the way I look at it is, okay, what are the parameters that we have available? We have Levi, who's an advocate, right? Who's trying to fight for things that need to occur. There are a lot of decisions that have already been made historically that are locked in, like prizing. Why do they call it a regional and not change the name? It's because they printed a card with a stamp regional on it and they can't go and change the name of it, right? Like, of course, they would love to do that and re explain and figure out different pricing, but that's already locked in. So, would it make sense to have a organized play season that lines up with the calendar year? Yeah, that actually would be very helpful. But guess what? We all have to suffer through 9 months of straight organized play to get, to the other end of that spectrum. So there are a lot of pain points here that I think Brett and, the community have reasonable gripes about. And I think they suck. And I don't know, by going through them, are we going to get through the other side like healthier? I hope so. But I know whatever trajectory or path we were on wasn't sustainable. And frankly, I think was a waste of resources. And I think, and it's not about the cash or the investment, right? Like the important part that I think the company provides And I'll say this as a person who ran the biggest LC. Like I tell you, Brett, I could have put up 2K and I could have put up $50, and I promise you I would have got the same turnout. Like it had nothing to do with the cash prizing. It had to do with the fact that we spent a lot of time advertising and building up energy and building up commitment from the community and removing barriers for people to come. We put a lot of time in running a well organized tournament that respected people's time, right? And ran, as close and as effectively as possible. There are always hiccups and there's always things we'll take to heart. And the prizing was dope. People want Queen of the Monsters. People want Destructive Heat Rays. Like people want to come out for that kind of stuff. And the travel vouchers is helpful and all of those things, but guess what? The person in 53rd place was never going to get a $250 travel voucher. They didn't come out for that, right? Like they
Yeah.
came to have a good time, to have a good event, to have their time respected, and to get some dope prizing and like hang out with their friends in the community. And so like I think if stores realize that and you don't have to invest what we invest. Like no store can do that. It's unreasonable, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect that from anyone, and nor should they. The company should be carrying this, right? But if you care, if you don't run it on a Tuesday night at 7:15 when you're expecting to go 6 rounds, right? Have enough table space for your folks, knowing now that you can expect 16 to 18 people showing up to your LC, right? Like be prepared, right, to have like snacks and food and stuff in the area, knowing it's a tournament. Have things to do or side events or, a plan, right? To make this a little bit of a better experience, and people will show up, right? And so it's the small things that add up that I think the community cares about. um it's not a salve, right, Brett? Like
No.
I think the UK, it sucks, there's nothing around it, but I will say if they come back and they're able to solve the travel problem, right? And here's what I mean by the travel problem, right? Like why is the trading post all over the US attending these LCs? I don't know if any of you play video games, but there's a Hideo Kojima game that's very polarizing called Death Stranding, which is like basically a walking mail simulator, but like the concept of the game is connecting communities. And
That's the
so
one
there
with
are all
Norman
these
Regis.
small
Yeah, it's the
communities.
one with Norman
What's that?
Reedus.
That's the one with Norman Regis, right?
It is Norman Reedus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the concept is like everyone is isolated and Norman Reedus walks around reconnecting these communities. And so there are these hubs of vibrant activity for universes. And what we want to do is start connecting those hubs, create organic tissue around that, grow those hubs out, and organically grow outwards from those hubs.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, right? Like the growth phase of the game and the ability to compete and the attention economy and the number of TCGs are out there, like good luck, right? Unless you're Cyberpunk and have $20 million behind your name. And even then, who knows if that's going to succeed, right? Like that's how crazy volatile this world is.
We can
And
get into that, and
so
I'll happily sit
I
here
guess what I'm
and
trying to say is like, yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I see what the strategy is, right? Like I don't
yeah.
know if it's going to be effective, but like they're trying to reinvest into the hubs to grow outwards because they want to satisfy the existing player base and then go outwards from there. And there's some missteps there for sure.
Yeah, I could sit here and we could hash out Cyberpunk and like all the TCG bubble, and that might be a good thing. Like that might be a good topic a bit another time. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was saying. Is this is a massive win for the community. Honestly, I forgot that you guys did a cash prize at TTP. You also had everything else kind of going on there, as well as just trying to make it feel like a regional. Your stream setup was absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see the actual like edited gameplay of it because when I was looking at the picture that we've been taking, it looked like the UVS kind of stream setup, but in your own kind of flary way, and it's what other people have been trying to do. They're trying. It's what UVS and the game should have been doing from the start, cultivating and growing local play into a more sustainable format. And another one thing, those decisions are in the past, but there's reasons stores are untrusting of this game, especially in Europe. But Riftbound, as much as I hate to say it, has been good for the game in exposure for stars. The way that people are seeing UVS handle Riftbound distribution and organized play and everything like that, they're getting interested in other things that UVS do as well. And I know there are stores uh, in my area that, although I'm not running events yet, are starting to pick up the product and go, we'll see if anyone's interested. I'm like, cool, let me know and I'll come and play. I'll do demos. The moment you have any kind of interest, let me know and I will come in and cultivate that interest. And that's
I will
because
work for peanuts.
and that's because of the how UVS has handled Riftbound and kind of thing. Uh, but yeah, I didn't mean to like say that there's any kind of issues. The UK issues have been done to hell, and it the only thing
No,
that
no, I think you're right, Brett. Right, like it's okay to highlight. Like I think we were having a discussion this morning, right, on the Universes channel. I was saying two things can be true at the same time.
yeah
LCs can be improving stateside, and we can see the community starting to heal and at least go in the right direction in terms of what the players want. And things can not be improving or need a lot of work on the EU side.
yeah
And those two things can be true. One doesn't, preclude the other from being true. And so I think there is a lot of work to be done. And I'm hoping that this EU celebration is whenever the details can come out. I hope they legitimately put in a lot of money to allow people to really travel, not
yeah
like a token $100 here or there, but give like, a good solid 8 people the ability to travel to the States and enjoy that experience, end to end. Offer those types of things to the community. Take all the Rebel Frontier promos out there, every promo that's ever been released, right? And just make that readily available to the EU community. Um, I even think like got to make a backup available, right, to the EU and OCE community. I think if you do those things, then you can say, hey, we've put it on parity as best as we can with the circumstances that we have. And we're going to improve upon it if we continue to see the numbers grow. Right. And like,
yeah.
I think that's what they need to do. And I hope they do that. Right.
So the biggest issue with the EU celebration at the moment is people are forgetting about it. Uh, I
Yeah.
I follow some of the Alicante stores on Twitter and X, and one of them put up that they have a brand new card game called 6-7 with the hands like this, and it was absolutely hilarious. So I messaged in the Alicante Discord. I'm like, "Can anyone get me this game?" And one of the guys was like, "Yeah, I can go grab it for you." I went, "Can you check it's in English before you get it?" I was like, "Cool," because I want to play the 6-7 card game. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. And he's like, I don't know how much postage would be. I'm like, just bring it to the EU celebration. He's like, the what? And I was like, the big event that we're getting at some point this year. He's like, I forgot that was actually a thing that we're supposed to be getting. And yeah, we've got people forgetting about it. We've got people saying it doesn't really exist until we find out a date. We're heading into May with no details. People may not be able to get it off work. People may not have like the time available for it. And with such a compact, organized play schedule, like you said, everything's comprised into this March to September 6 months of pure gaming. It's really awkward trying to fit in an EU celebration that wouldn't also interfere with the new celebration event that's going on in
Vacation.
November. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, and also people need to plan summer vacations, all
yeah
these other things, logistics. I totally get it, right? And I can only imagine, Brett, like I can only imagine the reason why the organized play people at UVS haven't announced those details
yeah
is because they haven't been allowed to announce those details by the folks who are too busy with Riftbound, right? Like that is legitimately the only thing that makes any sense in the planet to me, right? So, because I know the organized play people for we all do, right? Like they are people who are actual people who like playing this game. They've stuck around and not jumped over to the Riftbound bandwagon where everyone else went over because they care about the health and livelihood of this game. The smart career decision sure as hell wasn't to stick around on the Titanic, right? Like that is not what you do. And so I do genuinely believe that these people are planning and are putting together the details. I just think whoever's in charge of approving these things is probably busy in where is it, Atlanta, or where was the Riftbound Regional this last time, Brett? You're
uh,
on top of these things
I'm
more
not
than
on
I
top.
am.
I'm not on top of Riftbound. I've taken a step back after the community and I had a bit of a falling out. But I believe it was in Europe this time because it was live during my AM.
So I can promise you where 99% of the UVS employees are right now, and they're definitely not at Chicago, right? So it's the unfortunate reality of this situation. It doesn't make things better, but like I at least want people to understand that I don't think it's organized play sitting there making
No,
these cold, callous decisions. I think they want to do right. I just think the priorities of the company is very much focused on Riftbound because I mean, Brett, they get their weekly at player average is in the six figures,
yeah,
right? Like that's what it comes down to. Their weekly player average is in six figures, and we're lucky to see like a couple hundred, right? Like
yeah,
so it is what it is. And so and that's what I'm saying. It's not about invalidating what people feel.
no,
Like you should be furious and having that investment. But the facts on the ground and the options that are available and the levers that are available to fix this are also what they are, right?
yeah.
Like and those are the realities. And so we have to work within those confines and see what we can do to keep the game healthy, right? Like as a community and as an organized play structure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've not given UVS many props this year. I mean, I spent most of last year being like the big hype man. Anytime any news drop, I was in there with the hype, and the organized play news has hit. But I will give the staff members the biggest respect because every single member of the UVS staff is some of the most caring and passionate people about this game. From the head of departments like Bill and Zoe and Hitch and Matt, who want this game to be massively successful, that go into everything looking to solve the problems for players, looking to solve the problems for the game, looking to acquire the best IPs and make sure that we're discoverable, being able to make sure organized play can work with what they have available. Uh, I know as bad as the situation is for us, Levi made the best out of what he had. Uh, like like you said that not too long ago, two things can be true, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong. The situation sucks for us, but the situation sucked for Levi having to put us in this situation. It just breaks my heart when I'm at the LC in Sheffield with 21 people, knowing this could have hit 40 people if half of the old locals who left in November were playing. Former, we had former
But
national.
the
There was a couple of like our old national champs who decided not to play because they wanted to play in Gundam events. One of some of the best players just didn't turn up. That I don't know if they still play the game. Someone came. One person who used to play turned up to sell the cards that they had, and it was great. It was great seeing the people, but it was great socially. But it was also kind of just heartbreaking seeing Liam Charner playing Gundam when he could have been the 22nd person in this event and there would have been no buy. It was great to see Luke, but it was also like we didn't get to see Ben or Grant. There was no Ellie. There was none of the usual people who would be in this event causing trouble for everybody. And there were some people that, like Connor, who has a great track record with with Godzilla, absolutely loves Godzilla. He went to a convention in Birmingham instead of going to Sheffield to play in the event, and it I can see where people are getting to the end of their ropes with UVS decisions, and it just I love this game, and I know the people that have left this game love this game. It's just too many decisions that hurt them meant they had to walk away from it.
I can
Yeah,
see that.
I again, I don't know what the long term solution is, but the way, I mean, we're looking at it locally is um, breaking it down into smaller goals, right? I think the trying to hit home runs, those days are probably long and gone. Although I will say the 2027 six sets that are coming out are bangers, so I maybe not, but I will say this: the the one thing we need to focus on are more attainable goals, right? Like what we've set is how do I get my weekly player average to about 16 people on a local level, right? Like how do I get 4 or 5 stores around me averaging that amount so that I can have bigger events? What can we do as a community to go support those stores to invest back into the game, right? And give them the resources that they need. Like these are small, minor things, but I think those are the things that you need to do to get the organized play to a point where people want to travel, people want to play regularly, people want to. There's enough of a player base that you have above replacement, right, for when people can't attend, stuff like that. That should be the goal. Like, how do we get Sheffield back to 20 players plus on a weekly basis, right? Like,
Yeah,
how do we do that, right?
I,
Like that is the goals that I'm interested in because like whether the regional gets to 150 or 250, those numbers are basically the same thing, right? Like you're either above 500 or you're below 500, right? And so I think what matters is more consistency across these communities and showing and building that player base. So like that's what I want, right?
yeah,
And so whatever people come up with ideas or whatever UVS can do to help support that, right? And well, whatever we can do as community members to amplify that back to UVS, I'm all for it. But tit for tat, how to make parity across some of these events and stuff like that, I that's less important to me more than how do I get locals up to 16 plus. Like that is what I care about.
no, you hit the nail bang on the head. It's something I said when Levi put this out. Organized play needs to be consistent. Uh,
Yeah.
this is our fifth year with a fifth organized play system, and Levi teased in your interview that we could have a sixth next year. Uh, it makes sense. I personally I wasn't that I was I didn't mind last year's system. I think the points need to be adjusted a little bit to make it more accessible. So if you played locally, you could still get to worlds rather than this unobtainable like points that they actually did. I know a lot more people in the UK travelled last year to gain points and be in the top. We haven't really seen that same level of travel for LCs, but you also nailed it bang on the head with we don't need big things. We don't need grand gestures. We don't need regionals to be these super amazing events to draw people in because a regional will draw people in regardless. I mean, they hyped up. We've now got backups, and we've got the insane prize. We've got the increased tickets, prize war tickets, and the attendance for the regionals has been about the same. What we need is to be cultivating local player base. We need to be getting people in the stores to sit down and actually play this game and invest their time and efforts and money into this game. So when a regional comes along, people are doing kind of what Let's Talk UVS and TTP and Final Round are doing, where they're traveling as friends and it's a big social event and people from a local area have got local pride and they're going and they're wanting their friends to do well and there's having fun as well as playing the game in a new way. It's not the massive things. It's not the LCs that need to change. It's the way people are approaching it. Like Stars having local championships on a Tuesday at 7:15. Is that because the store didn't understand the gravity of the event? Did UVS not get it across them, or is that just because they don't actually know enough about this game to understand what this event was?
Both.
Both.
From what
100%.
I've heard, a lot of the confusion for the ones on weeknights came from where local store champions were just like locals, and they thought that only their local people would be there for it. So now that they've seen what they are, and they're like, oh no, this is a bigger thing that a lot of people are going to try to travel for, they've started moving them to weekends.
Yeah.
And I meant to cut in like 20 minutes ago, Brett, you're a grown ass man. Stop the 6-7 thing.
No, I will not. I will never. I will never.
Also, the first way to get Sheffield back to 20 people, we need to move Brett to Sheffield.
There we go. I like that idea. Done.
And he can start live streaming from the store. He can
TTP will send a stipend for your moving. You know?
Yeah, we need to get a team trading post, like UK edition. And honestly, I think that's something that might benefit some of the organization, having hubs in these different regions, like a UVS UK, UVS EU, UVS Oceania, where they have local teams dedicated to the local scene, and they can help with local organized play. They can help with getting stores up and running, going around doing demo teams and stuff like that. I know it's a big ask up front financially, but I do think that would help having those boots on the ground. And then they could interface with people like Brett, who knows a lot of the local scene. I'm very unfamiliar with the Oceania player base, but they could interact with those people and those content creators and use the human resources that have already built up around the game naturally to help broaden their battlefields. Basically, we are their good little soldiers. Put us in, coach. We can help you with this, but we need the company backing as well. And I think having like an EU base for UVS and like an Oceania base for UVS, so that it's not all one team handling the global structure, could help break things down into a more manageable situation eventually.
Did you know,
Cam, you make an amazing point.
Did
like,
you know
I just wanted to hone.
Do you know UVS actually has an office in London?
I know back in pre-MHA days, they actually did start opening up channels in like Germany and the UK and France, because they were going to start mass marketing the MHA card game. So I know that's something that Jason back in the Jasco days was working on. I just wasn't a content creator back then. I didn't have a lot of friends in the company to be like getting the inside scoop.
Yeah, I mean,
and like I said, it would be a lot up front, but it would make things, I think, more manageable, so that it's not just like, okay, Levi's the head of all organized play. Sure, yeah, he can be, but we also have like the NA organized play team. We have the EU organized play team. We have the Oceania organized play team. And those play teams could work on event scheduling around, like, I don't know what you guys celebrate in the UK Tea Day or something. I don't know. But I'm sure you have like better, like different like holidays than us.
Yeah, so
that would help better to have local people working on the local scheduling.
Yeah, so this is something, when Josh came to the last Nationals last year, I said to him, the regionals that you have in August isn't going to do well. And he's like, why? Because it's smack bang in the out of school time for the UK. Prices to Spain go at surge pricing. Hotels are at surge pricing. People have their kids and have responsibilities. You're talking the most unaffordable time, and he just went, yeah, we can't arrange regionals around everybody's holidays. Like, no, you could have avoided this. Hosting
if they had local people working on local scheduling, and yeah. I think, sure, maybe they could do it with just a small office of 5 people per satellite region, and maybe that's a good start to get people working on organized play, working on local game stores, demo teams traveling around like Levi did for Attack on Titan.
So,
I'm sure they could make stuff work, especially if they got the Riftbound money now.
oh well, seeing as you brought Ripfab before Suri jumps in with, obviously,
Well, Riftbound money is not coming over here.
no,
Yeah, let's
but
be honest, right?
but no, but
Okay, well,
speaking,
as long as they get us off Card.io, then I'll be happy.
That's not happening either. But continue.
speaking of Riftbound before Suri jumps in with his amazing points, did you know that Riftbound does actually have a UVS team in Europe? They have organized play and
Yep.
star like coordinators for Europe, Africa, and the Middle East that are designed to reach out to stores, cultivate growth. And the entire time I did a video on it, and the entire time I was going like, why does this role just not include universes as well? Like, just how is it that hard in the same conversation to go? Riftbound, you love Riftbound. Do you want to put it in your store? What about how also do we have this other game? Like, do you want to try this one as well? Just
That's incredibly popular and popping off. They don't need to know that might be somewhat of a lie, but you fake it till you make it. That's all. That's what sales is. You fake it till you make it.
You don't want to lie to yourself.
I'm pretty sure Riot. I'm pretty sure Riot has something in there where they can't piggyback their other games on top of Riot's.
Why are we doing their distribution? Come on, Riot,
because they give a lot of money for it.
I was going to say, have you seen
more than probably the sales of universes?
Have you seen the Mr. Krabs meme of money?
Yeah,
I can imagine. But that's like the main thing that I think of whenever it's like, why don't we have better organized play overseas, or why does it feel like all this is neglected? I think if we had local teams out there working from the UVS company for that local area, for those regionals that understood the markets and the stores and the people and the scheduling, I think that would go a long way to help fixing some of these issues.
Well, I mean,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
The UVS,
Cam, but like I do think.
Go on. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say Cam made probably the most important point, right? Which is you need to trust the locals on how they know best to build their communities, right?
Yeah.
And lean on them and their expertise. I don't think it's feasible to have a Oceania and EU organized play person or team just based on the size and the scope, right, of these events, right?
Yeah.
So what you really do need is exactly what you were saying, which is hubs or champions or local stores that are those, like the Sean's at Patriot, the Sean's of the Rochesters of the world,
the Sean's
people
Oceania,
who have the infrastructure.
Yeah, we just need our Sean's. We need to get our Sean's in a row.
We need more Sean's, yeah. We basically need to lean in and empower them to hold those events and give them prizing, to motivate their communities. Like I've been telling Levi, like we want specialized prizing for organized play. Like we gave out special power tokens for everyone who attended our LC. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to get like an asset or something associated with the store, right? Like they used to historically do, that we could give out in our events, right? Things like that would be really cool and empowering and allow the local stores to help organically grow. Because I think here's the dirty secret, right? Like Levi walked in here with no data. This organized play program was gutted, right? Like nothing was done, right? It was in shambles. He'll never say it, but that's what was left for Worlds was all Levi. Nothing was from the previous administration or regime. And so the problem that
so I was going to say
the problem you run into.
Do you know who will say it?
Yeah.
There was a hint in that the organized play system was gutted in the Judges Riftbound Discord, where a UVS employee, I think Nathan, went in there and basically said, "We're rebuilding the judge program because ours is gone. The one that we got last year, and I assume it applies to Universe as well because they were kind of the same system. It was completely gone. It was completely dismantled when some employees left, and it was all this massive message saying an employee left. They took all the judge system with them, and now they're having to rebuild it up from the ground, which is why like." A year and 3 months in, we haven't had anything to do with level 2 universes judging. Riftbound hasn't had its level 2 judging because the entire system's been rebuilt from the ground up. So that kind of gave me some sympathy for
Jeez.
Levi, that if the Riftbound system got burnt on the way out, I imagine all the universes organized play got burnt on the way out.
Yeah, and he had no data, right? Like
Yeah,
none of it was like viable. Like you can't get data off of stores that have like one person showing up and know how engaged they are. Even at the most engaged stores, right? Like people weren't using UGN to enter events, and like people were just like ignoring that aspect of organized play. So I really think season one and season two was which stores and which communities still are engaged.
yeah,
Like, let's figure that out. And I think season three and season four is how do we pour more resources into those communities that are engaged to have consistency and continue to grow, right? So, like the Patriot Games of the world, how do we give them like two LCs, right? And give them more opportunities so that, hey, even if it's a holiday, like or like just scheduling snafu, there's another two more LCs around the corner with awesome prizing for people to attend, right?
yeah.
Like how do we get to that point, right? I think that's what they're working on.
That does confuse me about Scotland though, because I mean, we got the 15 international LCs out of the 20 we could have had, and then you had Merchants Guild up in Scotland that got nothing. So the Scottish players with their established player base that were running events on UGN and were showing that they had people showing up have to travel 6 to 8 hours to play in these LCs.
Did they apply?
Yeah, they applied.
Okay, that was the other thing that we found out, that some stores just didn't apply.
Oh no,
Yeah, that's the
You know,
reason. That's the reason my local store didn't get one, because they missed they got the email around like the holiday time, like Christmas time, and it just fell through the cracks.
no.
So hopefully
I,
we'll get one season three, season four.
I know Card Goblin didn't apply because they were ones I was planning to go to because I haven't been and seen their store yet. But the Scottish players were outrightly confused and a bit enraged that essentially they just had a regional. They'd been Merchant Guild had been pushing universes. It's in all their advertising when they do their weekly schedules. They'd applied for the LCs, and then they didn't get anything. And like even though we were told we could get up to 20, we only got 15. So that means that there were technically still slots available for them to have one.
yeah, that is unfortunate. I do hope that they fix that, because obviously the Scottish community is pretty engaged, and that regional actually popped off, right? Like that was actually quite a celebration and an event. So hopefully, hopefully they make adjustments in season three and season four,
Yeah.
and I know that they're even going to take some feelers even in season three and season four on a few regions and stores, just to gauge if the interest and the support is there. And I'm guessing there will be some more experimentation, but I'm I'm more excited about, like I said, giving these hubs the ability to throw 40, 50-person events, right? Get those big community events going, give them the prizing they need to support and get those off the ground. And um, again, it gives people who don't have the opportunity to go to regionals. Like I couldn't go to Chicago, but I played damn well against every person in that Chicago tournament within the five LCs that were held, in the Chicagoland area, and then some, right? So
Yeah.
that was really cool. And so having the ability to have really good competition, have LCs that help you prepare for regionals, because the quality and the quantity of players is up and so high, is awesome, right? Like I really appreciate that I legit don't have to be on TTS if I want to prepare for a regional. I can just play in LCs within my region and be able to um, go to Chicago with a bunch of games underneath my belt. And not everyone's blessed to have a region like that. And we want to create more regions like that, right? That's our goal.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, just to quickly touch back on it again, I mean, the Scottish community is one of the hearts of the international community. They regularly travel to Spain for the community events, for the regionals. They travel the most. They're almost
Yeah.
like the TTP of, well, TTP is almost like the Scotland. They've got of the international. They travel for all the major events. They've been playing the longest. Michael Murray might not play as much as he used to now, but he was a very good established player before MHA. Uh, it just does suck they won't really give him one. But what I'm looking forward to in season 2, hopefully, and as of tomorrow, with the UGN updates, is maybe no more illegal decks.
Yeah, that is tomorrow. For some reason, I was thinking that was next Friday.
That wouldn't be universes if you're not allowed to register unyielding
deck.
destruction. Yeah, that's
So yeah,
Titan of Terror unyielding. That's what I want to play.
Yeah,
that's that's awful.
Yeah, if you aren't aware, if you aren't aware,
unyielding isn't banned in retro, is it?
No, but so the TTP
it's
event
legal.
So
you could have Titan of Terror unyielding in retro.
I'm sure there's more ways to.
Now you're cooking.
But yeah,
I've been cooking a while, man. Have you not seen some of my most recent videos?
I have.
I uploaded a video on Friday that's just like, here's 7 random things that I've been goofing off with.
But yeah, TTP had a Titan of Terror with a unyielding destruction. Final Round Games had a Titan of Terror that was running an illegal symbol. France had 66% of its decks being illegal, with a barrier shield in one and the symbol in the other. Yeah, I think the amount of events that
you can't tell the French what to do. You can't tell them.
The amount of events that didn't have illegal decks is lower than the amount of decks that did, and yeah, I get it. It's for a local event. UGN should be on this, and it's been an issue for a while. Worlds had an illegal deck. Atlanta had an illegal deck. It's becoming worse and worse, and it's something UGN should be able to catch, especially if it's not being flagged for stars. The metaverse deck lists are great, but there's no way
it's a database. This isn't like brand new AI technology that we need to create. It's literally checking against a database whether it's legal and it's time stamped on when the card is released, right? It is so stupid simple.
UVS Ultra can tell you if your deck is legal or not, like if you've got something that's off symbol. So why not implement something like that? If UVS Ultra can do it, why can't
it did.
UVS do it?
But the thing is, it did it all the way up until Glasgow, because I was struggling to submit my Sun Jin Woo deck because the cards weren't on UGN. So I went, cool. They added the cards to UGN, but then the UGN was saying that the cards weren't legal. So I was like, cool. So it wouldn't let me submit the deck, and then it let me submit the deck, and ever since then, it's been broken, I believe.
So what you're saying is the Scottish are the reason we can't have nice things.
No.
Thanks, Connor.
Sun Jin Woo is the issue. We can't have nice things.
Well, I think it started when
Alex, this is your fault.
When May came out, right? It was a big issue because we couldn't enter 8 ally attacks.
8 allies,
yeah.
But I mean, there's ways. I mean, if UVS Ultra, which is a community-run website, and Universes.cards, which is the Scottish, vastly superior under threat of contract with Murray because I made him answer silly questions at Sheffield in Judge Call, deck builders can basically accommodate May and then also tell you if something's illegal in individual formats. There's no way UGN should be able to go, this event is standard. Is your deck standard legal? No, well then you need to change it.
Yeah, but card.io, what you gonna do?
Yeah. Apparently at Gamma, when the Riftbound panel was going on, someone asked if they were moving away from cardio, and the room erupted into cheers and clapping because everybody hates cardio. I just
think with all the money that Riftbound's making, they can afford to design their own system and then hopefully let us piggyback onto it.
Yeah, because I think people tend to think grass is greener on the other side. Melee.gg sucks. I hate that. Best Coast pairing is even worse. Like all these systems outside of like Pokemon who made their own system are terrible,
Well, it's
right?
like
So
Konami. I used to run events with Konami for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I loved their system.
uh,
We almost had no
yeah,
problems with
that
it.
that's like that's exactly like you have to develop your own system. I think is the
Yeah.
only way.
I mean, I West Coast pairings is what Shardbug's used, and every time I try to use it, it tries to charge me a subscription fee. So I have no idea how to actually make that thing work.
You have to pay a subscription.
uh, yeah, and then you've got Pilt over the deck builder for Riftbound, which is community run. There's You've got TCG Architect who does a bunch of games and has like deck builders and ways to make things legal. There's some great community run ones out there. Whether they can be used like for competitive constructive events is left to be said, but it it's those little things that we were talking about earlier. If you are a new player going into an event and you build your deck and you go to the deck, you build your deck, you go to an event, you play your deck, and then during the event someone goes, your deck's illegal. You're instantly going to have this kind of bad vibe about the game where you were able to submit an illegal deck because the system wasn't there. It doesn't feel professional.
Yeah, like there's no excuse. Like that should just never happen, right? Like
Yeah,
you should like putting the onus on like the tournaments to do it is crazy, right? Like I think what we said was if someone catches it, then we'll deal with it then. And then we deck checked all of the top cuts, right? So we would make sure that there was no top cut with and to be honest, right, like once you start getting into the top tables, like people are going to know if you're playing something illegal, right? Like
Yeah.
they're going to spot it most of the time. It's really just in Swiss in the beginning outlier rounds that you see these issues, but no excuse.
no,
Like it's just a bad experience. And then what do you tell that new player who probably doesn't have backup cards, right,
yeah,
to put in there? Like, sorry, you can't play the game, right? Like, hey, unyielding destruction is really cool, and like your head was in the right place 6 months ago, right? Like you would have done some heinous things, right? Like,
yeah. It,
but like,
See,
what do you do in that moment, right? Like,
what's funny is I just had a thought that you said, "What do you do for the new players that don't have backup cards?" The deck checkers just have a stack of Jaegerist followers, and you have to replace all of your illegal cards with Jaegerist followers, so you do have backup cards.
I like it.
It's dumb, but
no,
that's just like the first thing that jumped to mind, and I was
yeah.
like, "This is too stupid not to say out loud."
But you can kind of get away from it. It's like you said, it's the minor corrections that can be changed to make this game better for the stars and things like that. Because stars shouldn't have to be deck checking three people at an event. Never mind 54 odd people to make sure all their decks are completely legal when they're not being flagged by any kind of safeguards.
Spoiler: we were not going to do that.
No. I mean, you had to start late to begin with because of the venue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Oh.
I mean, it like you said, Levi's working with a box of scraps that was left from behind. What I would love to see for 2027 is an evolution of this system, an actual like growing and change of the system, rather than oh, here's what we learned from 2026. 2027, we're going to trial run a whole new system, and once again, just going in with the cool. Yeah, we need consistency.
I'm curious. I'm curious though, like Brett, like what would that look like, right? So I'll give you a little bit of a story from RLC, right, as backdrop. Like in my mind, we had 52 people or 53 people, and for the next season's LC, I was like, okay, we have a lot of locals coming in. We have a lot of people who aren't necessarily competitive or care about the top prizing. Maybe we do side events or card slinging. We had J Ray in the area. We had Levi. We were gonna, have alternative events and like bingo boards and things for additional prizing like, hey, do an attack with the most damage for the day, or 20 plus damage to someone, or things like that, right? Like that
Yeah.
you can get additional prizing that isn't focused around wins and losses, right? But when I looked and it was like 6 rounds in, I think there was like 3 people who dropped the entire tournament. And so, like, those are like the data points that you get in. So I'm like, okay, well, I want organized play to be effective or approachable for new players. I want it to be a celebration, but I want it to be fun and competitive and a precursor for regionals or worlds or whatever it may be for the competitive players. How do I find that balance? And so, without data, it's like hard to figure that out. So, in
Yeah.
my mind, I would thought, I've gone to every US regional in 2025 and a bunch of LCs. And I thought to myself, after round two, 60% just drops and goes and does other things, because that's the way it was in the States. And I went to the UK and Spain and I saw no one drops and
No.
everyone plays it out. And so when I came back to the LCs here, I thought it's going to be just like the States and the regionals. Like no one dropped. I was like, what am I? I was pinching myself. I was like, am I in Alicante or what's going on here? Right. Like, and so it was different and weird. So like what does that evolution look like to the both of you, right? Like
Yeah.
how would you and be realistic, right? Like we don't have infinite money and we don't have
No.
infinite resources. Like what would you do? Like Brett and Cam, I'm curious.
So,
After
quick,
you, Brett.
quickly to touch on one thing you did say, like with the bingo boards and things like well before my time, possibly in the time of Cameron, did you know that regionals or provisional showdowns or whatever the big events were called had fairground like attractions like whack-a-mole and stuff that you got to just play in and do as part of the game?
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily PTCs, but it was Worlds, and they had Vegas casino games. You could literally go and play blackjack against the president of the company for like prize wall tickets, basically. Or you could
I
do
love
like
that.
roulette or stuff like that. And man, you and my locals, I'm just catching strays about being an old player left and right. Holy shit. All
But
I said to my
Well,
local players who were like back in my day talking about how our newer players are starting to get really creative, they're like, man, I feel like an old player. I was like, well, back in my day, we could attack on turn one. They're like, all right, Grandpa, let's get you back to bed. Like, shut the hell up.
someone in chat's asking what a PTC is, Cameron.
The Pro Tournament Circuit. It was basically what regionals were, but they were kind of they weren't big like regionals. It was basically like what the LCs are now, except there were a lot less of them.
So
And they always sent an official judge out from UVS to judge them.
So Magic the Gathering had the Pro Tour circuit, and UVS had the Pro Tournament circuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I copy your homework? Just make it look like it wasn't not my handwriting.
But yeah, and actually one of my right before 2020, one of my stores up in Tulsa actually got a pro tournament circuit, and it was pretty cool. Except for the fact that I hated that the store actually just gave me the keys and said, "Here, you watch the store." I'm like, I'm not responsible for this. Don't do this to me. There's 15 people here that I don't know, and you're just going to give me the keys to the kingdom? I don't think this is how you manage a store.
But yeah, so the evolution of the organized play system to me is one: we don't gatekeep worlds. You don't need an invite. You don't need to earn your place at Worlds. You earned your place at Worlds by playing this game regardless. The last two world, the last
check.
the last what 3 world champions we had all came in from last chance qualifiers. Didn't come in on points. So that proves that the system has an inherent flaw in it to begin with. Two, nationals come back. So yeah, nationals were a build-up, but they don't feel like regionals. They are their own big thing. What you do is you turn LCs into regionals, but you just rename LCs as regionals. They're designed to pull everyone in from their region. It's a regional, simple as. So you don't need worlds invites. You don't need the worlds invites. You don't need the national invites. People play this game for the love of the game. You hit the nail on your head yourself out here in the UK and what's happening in NA now. We don't drop because playing this game is more fun than sitting watching everybody else play this game. You don't need to go, oh yes, here's an invite for another event. We are a 1K to 2K gaming community. We shouldn't be gatekeeping any of our events. We should just be saying, please come and play this game no matter who you are and what your experience level is. Regionals are store based. They go bigger. Maybe we go back to like the provisional showdowns as a sort of like a semi event, but the big event for every region is nationals again. You have a European nationals and NA nationals. You just have this big event, and you put the cards back on the line. You go, you for nationals you used to get a character card. You want to bring people back in. You put that back on the line. You go, worlds will get their own. Worlds could get something better, maybe like, oh, you can do more with your character, but draw people and bring that best gaming prize in gaming down. And then
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible, but I don't think that changes the numbers, right, Brett?
yeah,
Like, I think people forget pre MHA like how small this game was, right?
yeah,
Like, people were getting character cards playing in like 80-person tournaments,
I was
right?
there,
Like,
Gandalf.
let's
no,
be honest here, right? Like,
but
this game was big for 2 years and 2 years only, and it is infinitely smaller than what people somehow
yeah,
have a magic reality around, right? So
yeah,
like, yeah, if you want, like, these are all just semantics. Like, whether you call it regionals or nationals, or if you got 80 people, it's just basically an LC, man. Right?
no,
Like, if you got 90 people there, it's an LC. Right? Like, you get a card, we throw some prizing into it, but like, it's a lot of semantics here when you actually start laying out what is available for each one,
yeah,
minus that character card. Right? Like, if you want the character card, I agree with you, and like, we are in a dead agreement there. For each
yeah.
of the regions, I'd love to give out character cards, right, to keep people engaged there. But I think the rest of this stuff is kind of semantic-y, you know?
It's yeah. The renaming and stuff like that was semantical. The character card was my main kind of thing. Bringing nationals back as the
Oh, for sure.
big event, because as everyone kind of knows who does the content, we're in a TCG bubble. There is a ridiculous amount of TCGs on Kickstarter. There's one that has an electronic game board that tracks all your stats and health totals and does everything for you as you play it. Uh,
I thought that was an AI joke. That's real?
that's real.
Oh, okay.
The Viva League have come up with their own card game now with like the NPC Man card game. Gwent has its own like staple card game. Kickstart, we've got Cyberpunk, which is the most backed TCG and most backed ever project. And the big thing now is in the local game stores, in the conventions, in the mind of players, is standing out. You are back. You were dead on that pre MHA. This game was a lot smaller, but the amount of competition it had was a lot smaller. There was no other multi IP crossover card games. Universes was kind of like the only one doing it. It was Universes Beyond hadn't really taken off yet. Union Arena wasn't really a thing yet. It had this kind of market to itself, especially when it came to fighting games. And then post pandemic, now we're in this TCG bubble. There's a lot more you have to fight through, and outside of our resource system, be able to draw up to hand size every single time. And when you get outside of the gameplay, which only applies to players who want to sit down and actually take a look at this game to begin with, you need a hook. You need something that a player will read or will understand, and they'll look at it and go, "This is what this game can do for me." And if you sit there, or you see a poster, or you see someone going, "Universes Nationals become part of the game," that will get people. That stands out. If people know that playing this game at even at a local level, gives them the opportunity to become part of this game, like what backups are trying to do, and what we're at regionals. It's the unique aspect that makes this game stand out among every other game because outside of Hero Quest, where that the Star Realms company, which I forget the name of, has started doing, there's no other card game that lets you become a card unless you're
Yeah,
doing.
but can I play devil's
Yeah,
advocate,
go for it.
Brett?
That's
Can
your
I play
hero.
devil's advocate here? This card game has been doing this gimmick for 26 years. What all of a sudden now is going to get people into the game because this has existed
Hopefully,
forever.
hopefully better marketing.
Well, like I
From
think
what
that
I
ship
hear,
has
the Sabretooth and the
that ship has sailed.
Fantasy Flight didn't like do a lot of grassroots like trying to advertise into stores and stuff, and a lot of stores got burned by Sabretooth. So I think if we can help, if we have the support and backing of the company helping reach out to stores and such, I think that can help a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing that I used to tout uh, actually was the pricing. The anytime I'm talking to people, I always have a character book with me, and I'm like, look, you can take all your favorite characters from your favorite IPs. You can mix and match them, so it's not like Weiss or Union Arena where you're trapped into one. You get to mix and match. People think that's cool. Magic players love that our lands do stuff, and they love drawing up to their hand size. But I point out the character cards. I'm like, if you win Worlds, which it also, yes, used to be Nationals, you could also get a character card. You get to design your own playable character as yourself, and you're standard legal for X amount of years. And people go crazy for that. But what you youngins might not know is there was a format back in the day called Turbo, where you played with a 40 card deck instead of a 60. And the Turbo Worlds winning wasn't a character card, they gave you a car. They bought an old junk car, restored it, and like turbo souped it up. Had like the racing vest thing and everything, and you got a car for winning Turbo World. Shane Duckworth won it, and because he couldn't drive a stick, it just sat in his friend's garage for like 3 years. But it was kid. It had UFS on the front. It was decaled. It was sweet looking. But we've had awesome prizing that does set us apart for a long time. But I do think that as they're trying to figure out where to go with organized play, they've scaled a lot of that back until they could see what might kind of meet the moment. Because I remember in the MHA 1, MHA 2 regional days, like if you won a regional, you got like a Switch and you got a trophy and you got all this other stuff. But then again, the game had boomed. So now that it's kind of fallen back down a little bit, especially after it wasn't just the MHA card game, which made me happy, but a lot of people fell off. Maybe now they're seeing, okay, well, what fields better instead of just throwing all of this at like the same maybe 8 people that are gonna win these regionals. Let's figure out what works and what doesn't, to make it to scale. But I do think more unique pricing definitely helps. I do like the backup idea because, like with teams, if you were in nationals or worlds and you won teams, you got a team asset. I think there was even, I don't remember what tournament type it was, but you could get an action card made of yourself. You got to design an action. So having different tournaments where if you win like the big event of that, you get that type of card. I think that would, drum a lot of different interest, especially since we're trying to do all of these different ways to play, like retro, spotlight, heaven forbid 3v3. I played one 3v3 match and that thing took forever, so I don't know if I'm down for that competitively. But stuff like that I think could be kind of interesting to keep it fresh so that you're not just playing the whole same sweaty thing here and there. But that kind of leads to your whole we don't have infinite resources thing. That's all
Well,
I can think of is if we had
I
infinite resources, what could we magical Christmas land this? I don't know how to make any of this better.
No, but Cam,
Scale.
I think you bring up a good point though, right? There's two different purposes for organized play, right? And I think there's one purpose that the champ card and the changes that are being done right now can solve for. And then there's one side that it can't. The one side that it can solve for is I have 1,000 to 2,000 players that actively play and engage this game. How do I get as many of them out and engaged with organized play as possible with all the events that are there and grow the number of events and the size and the scope of events? I think that's what Levi is trying to figure out now, right? Is how do I get the most people to play in the most events and make these as big as possible and get as many people who are actively engaged still in the community to come out and play. And I think things like character cards, I think things like, cool promos and prizing, that's what gets folks out who are already engaged. I think the problem that we're talking about secondary is how do I get new people engaged with organized play? And I don't think organized play is very effective at doing that in
No.
general. I think most card games are struggling with this for a litany of reasons, right? I think first and foremost, right, if you are a small or a medium sized game, what ends up happening? Either direct to consumer sales, where majority of that goes to, or a consolidation of sales with one or two major distributors. And so, like, all the singles markets goes there. So none of the local game shops have any incentive to sell product because either they're just selling the amount that their community wants and there's no reason to have the singles because all of that goes elsewhere, right? Like Brett, like Core TCG owns all of Grand Archive. Like there's no other place outside of TCG Player you can go to go buy Grand Archive cards anywhere. Like even if you wanted to play casually or be a local store that supports it, there's no market for it. So there's no reason to do it. So what ends up happening is the only places that these places fire are places that already existed where you have your small 8 people that buy the one case that comes out every set, or these big ass organized play events, and there's nothing in between. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's for a lot of games, across the board. And I don't think many games have solved this problem. Like, how do I grow my casual base? I think Fab is probably the best, like, small game that has solved organized play. And compared to Magic, compared to Riftbound, compare that, they're like, you know, pennies to the dollar,
Yeah.
right? In terms of size. Like, it's hard. I don't think anyone's really figured it out.
Uh,
I also remember back in the boomer days when Worlds was still in Vegas. It was always at the Level Up Expo, and kind of like what Brett
That's the
said,
best.
without gatekeeping, if you showed up to Level Up with a UFS deck, you got a free 3-day pass to the Level Up Expo.
oh wow.
So you could play in the worlds. So I showed up one year, I had my deck, and they just like here, they just had someone at a check-in stand like checked your deck, make sure you actually had it. Here's your registration form, here's your 3-day lanyard. Go off. They even gave one to my wife just because she was there with me. And I was like, well, she's not playing, so would I just swap my badge back and forth to her whenever she wants to go check out the thing? They just handed her an extra one. They're like, here we go, we've got more than enough. So stuff like that where you could make a weekend out of it. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people don't like to play at conventions because it can be loud, it can be hard, but the main thing is they don't want to pay $80 to get into the convention as well. So if we had stuff like at Gen Con, at Level Up, at Anime Matsuri down in Houston, which was I think even bigger than Level Up last year when me and my wife went. Just absolutely massive. It took us all day to walk from one end of a room to another. That's how big this place was. But if they started working with stuff like that, and we had kind of like a circuit, like have you have your convention circuits, that could be kind of interesting for like the convention
Yeah.
circuit thing, and maybe that has its own like presence. Like if you win something at a convention circuit, you can create an action or something, and that could incentivize people to go to these different events and check out these different things. Now those you might have to cap because of cost, and you'd have to provide the badges. So it's like, hey, maybe it's only for the first 100 people that sign up, and you have to pre-register so that you can get your badge at the door. But that could be maybe something, and it partners with existing companies running these conventions that could help get people out. People see the tournament, maybe you have vendors and they come over and say, hey, I was here for this convention, what's this that's going on? That gets more eyes on the game.
Yes. So you brought up Grand Archive 3, and I went to a Grand Archive event because Main Deck Dan invited me out because he was commentating in London, and they had it across the hall from a massive Comic Con happening. And because it was a quieter hall that you didn't need to pay to get into, people were coming in to sit down. They were seeing cards getting played, and I talked to some of the people that were sat there, and it was like, "Oh yeah, I was just at the con. I came in, I saw an anime style card game, and they offered me a demo, and then you got prize wall tickets for taking part in the demo, and the prize wall tickets got you packs equal to your prize wall, and yeah, it's one of the things that university suffers from an advertising issue. We are primarily a word of mouth game. We do have IGN and TCG Play that occasionally write articles for us, but if you go on any social media at the minute, from YouTube to X to Facebook, Instagram, you will see CD Projekt Red and Weird Co posting about Cyberpunk every couple of minutes. You will see Riot and Riftbound every day being like, "Oh, here's some of the key cards that you need if you're going to be playing in Riftbound regionals. Here's X, Y, Z," and like even posting memes and jokes, and it's every single day there's something. It's not just here's some news, here's the latest redemption star, here's the bands and erratas, here's what you can get at regionals. It's engagement that isn't trying to sell you something. It's just having fun with their community, which engages them in it, so the posts keep going. The advertising posts, the ad on YouTube, on Facebook, on any kind of meta, on threads, is everywhere. But you ask people about Grand Archive, Universes, any of the other ones, people don't know about them as much unless they're already fans of those communities. It's one of the things that I've got in a lot of trouble for on Facebook groups and like other Reddits, because when I make a video about Godzilla, I go to everything that's associated with Godzilla and I post it in there and I see what gets approved. And it's got me shouted at a couple of times, but that's how you grow this game. As a content creator, you throw your content at the wall and you see what sticks.
Man, I commented on one post in a Godzilla fan group because someone saw Godzilla packs with their son at like a Target, and they pulled a Chrome Gigan.
Yeah.
And they're like, "This is awesome. We pulled a serialized card." I'm like, "Well, now you got to learn how to play the game." That's all I posted, and I have seen like 18 different Godzilla groups on Facebook in my feed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this. I'm not actively trying to interact with this. Take it off my feed. Going back to what I said about teaming up with like different cons and stuff, could you imagine doing pre-registration and actually getting into like a San Diego Comic-Con Universes tournament where they give you a badge for the weekend? Even if it's just like a Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday. And it's like, I'm one of the 100 people that gets to go this, and then they can advertise at the San Diego Comic-Con.
But it's
or
a
on
lot.
that
It's a
website
lot of money
for,
to invest.
for stuff like that.
That's so much money.
True. Like again, Magical Christmas Land, infinite resources. I'm just saying, if we could manage to pull something like this off, I think it would help with our advertising problem, because it's not like we can run ads on like Crunchyroll or anything.
I mean, it's crazy. They'll have ads on IGN and stuff once a year, right? And things like that. So it does happen. I do think there is a happy medium. I think there are a lot of smaller cons that, like, for instance, Brett, when we went out to the Pittsburgh event for Shardbugs, their competitive event was at one of these conventions where they were running competitive Riftbound and like Chinese, Riftbound product and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People were just grinding tournaments, but they had it there. So there were other things to do and there were other eyes, on the game. I think there's creativity there to be had to help grow organized play locally. I think IP switching is something that they're going to have to figure out and solve for. Because I just sat through this, right? At our local scene, there's so many people who are interested because it's Godzilla and they're sold and bought a ton of Godzilla. When it's not Godzilla, I don't know if those people are going to be there.
Yes.
And they see that with their pre-release packs and data, right? And so maybe IP switching, and like what Union Arena is different is that, for better or worse, and I hate it, but you just play as a single IP, right? So you don't have to mix, your non-favorite cards with your favorite cards, and are able to continue to keep that kind of interest in your own IP. And so that does worry me long term, but I will say, and because I do have to go, unfortunately, I'm running to a Strixhaven pre-release with my cousin that I
Ooh.
told him we'd play Two-Headed Giant together. So I'm really excited for that. But 2027, six sets
Uh,
are bangers.
Suri,
I'm just
Suri,
gonna leave you
Suri.
with that. They're incredible. Just leave you with
I
that.
wish I had that information because I'm an info junkie and I don't even care what I see. I just need to know more. So I envy
You
your
you you
knowledge.
you want to know more. Let me put it to
I
you.
envy your
Yeah.
knowledge.
Well,
Like UVS Games, send me an NDA. I won't tell anybody. Just tell me everything.
quickly before you go, Suri, if you're doing a Strixhaven pre-release,
Yeah.
check the copyright anti fraud sticker on your Strixhaven cards,
Okay.
because there's an error on some of the cards that have got X wings on them instead of the Magic the Gathering symbol.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna keep a lookout for that. I am all about. I just played a bunch of Star Wars Unlimited today, so
Yeah.
I'm all in for
They've
that.
so
So
some
that's
of the
cool.
Strixhaven cards have got the X-wing Star Wars Unlimited anti-theft copyright kind of thing at the bottom, and like a guy I saw on TikTok was showing off like, if you get these, let me know. I'm like, if I see any of these, I'm getting them for myself because that's hilarious.
That's hilarious. All right, I'll keep my eye out. So, thank you for the conversation, Brett.
No
Thank you
ways.
for continuing to be a pillar in the community. And Cam, keep the content coming. Those ideas are diabolical, but I think it's the type of freshness we need in a small game with a small amount of people. Is throwing new ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I always love it. So thank you both for all what you do.
No problem. You're welcome back
All right.
anytime, TTP Daddy, and we'll carry on a little bit with what you said, but we're probably going to start wrapping up soon.
We're gonna work on that name, but yeah,
No, we're
thank
not.
you
We're not
guys.
going. We're not going to work on that name at our time. Bye. Yeah. So big thanks to Sri for being here. I did kind of want to talk about the meta cards, and for example, we've just been talking about LCs and the company because the conversation's kind of flowing. Unfortunately, Sri's not going to be able to put any input into here, but I'm sure he'll message me back after he watches this bit back. But yeah, IP switching is an issue in this game. Not in that, like I said, Union really lets you stick with it. So if someone joins this game for Godzilla, for Street Fighter, for Critical Role, they're not allowed to skip out on the other sets. If you skipped out on Attack on Titan, if you skipped out on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, your Puma deck is not going to be able to do anything. If your Reinu Kaiju deck needs to have the other sets. You're not going. It's not like Magic where we're getting a new set every month. So if you miss one set, it's fine because something new's coming. It's not like Union Arena where everything's on that, and we don't have any kind of core IP to build around, which hopefully Rebel Frontier might fix. When we were MHA only, it was the MHA game, and personally myself, I'm glad we moved away from that because I don't think it was sustainable. I think by this point, if we'd have been MHA only, the game would be on fumes. I think moving into multi IPs was actually very clever. But what we need is some kind of consistency again. Uh, we've got Critical Role that came. We had Critical Role in 2024. Then we got Critical Role in 2025, and just like Godzilla, it was everywhere. But now we've got a year where, unless we get an experience bundle, we have no Critical Role. So people are going to forget this game exists. We have a lot of collectors. We have a lot of people that come in and buy the packs, and they don't buy cases. They don't buy. They come in and they see a $5 pack of Godzilla. And they go, no, I can spend $5 and see what's in there. And maybe they pull a Chrome. Maybe they pull an All Out. Maybe they don't pull anything. But they're still going to post it because it's something cool they found over something they enjoy. And they may even take a look at learning the game. But the moment you're kind of told, oh yeah, you have to. It's a multi IP. There's going to be other stuff here you don't like. You can be turned off from investing because it becomes you have to care about other stuff. I don't care about Attack on Titan. When we got Critical Role, I went to binge the entire three campaigns in just over a year. I didn't bother with Attack on Titan. I didn't with Apocalypse. I got a box and 2 pre-release kits. That's all I've ever opened. I'm doing just fine.
See, I'm kind of in the vein of what they always say. You bring them in for the IP, but they stay for the game itself. That's how I was. I got in
Yeah.
for Mega Man. I loved Mega Man, but I've always been fascinated about the crossover of mix and match. And just like you, I don't give a rat's ass about Attack on Titan. But I love this game and I love the mechanics. I couldn't have told you Reiner Braun from who's Marco Bot. I don't know. It's just names I'm pulling out of a hat. I don't care, but if the mechanics are cool, then I'm all in. So that's why, like, when I do demos, I'm like, yeah, we can get you started with like maybe a spotlight deck, and that's why I build decks for people. So I'm like, here, this is what mechanics work with the character that you love.
Yes.
Let's take your character that is your favorite character, and let's make you have fun with them. And then you won't really hate dipping your toes into other IPs as well. I've got one local who loves solo leveling, and he's really upset that we're not getting more solo leveling. He's we've just got a new guy who came in specifically for Godzilla, and at first he was like, "Yeah, I really want to play Godzilla. This is really cool. I'm a huge Godzilla fan." After 2 weeks of playing at locals and getting his ass handed to him, he said, "Even after Godzilla rotates, I'm still going to be sticking around because this game is that fun."
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to making it because if someone's just in it for the IP, I don't really think they're that much of a game player. They're more of this is a game that I can enjoy my IP with. It's another way to experience my IP, as opposed to this is a game first that is enhanced by these IPs, and the IPs can bring people in and widen the tent. So I always try to say, hey, let's take your favorite character, and I'm going to build you the most fun deck you've had in a while. And yes, it's going to be mix and match, but you're going to have so much fun playing this character and enjoying your character, your favorite person, that you're going to forget that there's Attack on Titan stuff in here. You're going to forget that there's I don't know, Street Fighter stuff in here. I'm just looking at my retro thing for inspiration on names. But if you approach it as an IP first, game second, I do think you're going to get a lot more like collectors and people who are like kind of interested because it's another way to experience their IP. But if you approach it as a game first that enhances their IP or is enhanced by their IP, then you can get more boots on the ground and be like, all right, let's actually get it in your head where the fun of this game is.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of touch on the issue that I have with Riftbound, and it's that people join Riftbound because they love Arcane, because they love League of Legends. They may have no idea how a TCG works, and you need to sell them on the game. And for brand new players, for people who have never touched a piece of card before, you need to make the experience in a store sociable and fun. And the issue I had with Riftbound, the issue I posed to the Riftbound community was, you're not making your games fun, you're not making your locals fun. If you turn up with Draven or Kaisa or all these meta decks, and you're just dominating people every single week. Some people might thrive on that, but the majority of people that have never touched a piece of cardboard before are going to stop having fun and they're going to walk away from the game. And I got a lot of hate from the Riftbound community for basically saying, stop playing meta all the time. And the issue Universes has is, if it brings people in for the IP, then it struggles. If it brings people in for IP, it has to keep them as players. It has to essentially invest in a brand new player. And if it's trying to convert a Magic player, a Riftbound player, a Grand Archive player, a Flesh and Blood player into a Universes player, you need to highlight to that player what the key selling points are. Multi IP isn't that much of an issue to someone who's already invested in the games, in card games. The mechanics will sell them on it, but the issue established players have, and that is causing us issues, especially in the UK community, is the events don't match up. If you look at a Riftbound Regional, a Grand Archive Ascent, a Magic, whatever the hell they call them now, a Pokemon Championship, you take their pricing, you take what they're offering, and you square it up against regionals from last year, there's no comparisons. If you square them up to regionals against this year, they're fairly close, especially when it comes to like what you're getting on your prize wall. This is something I brought up to them, saying your prize wall economy sucks because you're talking 5 tickets for the main event, and then you look at like Pokemon's prize wall tickets, and you're getting 30 prize wall tickets for the main event. It's like that's how it should be. So the hardest selling point we'll ever have is going up to a Pokemon player who's interested in Critical Role and going, "You're going to really enjoy this game." It's like, cool, but why am I going to enjoy it more than Pokemon? You go, because you get all these cool abilities, you get all the cool mechanics, and they may love the game, but there comes that point where they have to go, am I a Pokemon player or am I a University player? What's my main game and what's the backup? What gets, if there's a choice between events, what gets dropped? And what we're seeing is more and more people dropping Universities as their main game. Liam Charner now plays mainly Gundam, and he was an avid lover of Universities. Nathan James, who has been playing this game 20 years, is primarily a Riftbound player now. It sucks. Seeing people that I consider friends and peers dropping this game. I never considered picking up another game. I was all in on Universities, and I've started picking up Grand Archive because it's hard to justify, especially in the UK when we have no major events. We have local championships that people just are traveling for, but they're not traveling as much as they did last year, where those points got them a free trip to Worlds. Now it's a you have an invite, get yourself to Worlds.
Yeah, and I think that having that free trip to Worlds, or at least like having them cover your airfare and stuff, was a really big thing. And I think having that come back for, LCs, well, now that we get like travel vouchers, travel stipends, I think that's a step in the right direction. Because it would certainly help me as someone who can't afford to travel very much, that if I can go get lucky at my local championship, maybe that secures the travel I need for nationals or worlds if it's not, down in Dallas again. If it's in Vegas or if it's in, New York or something, I would definitely need help.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a step in the right direction. And a lot of what I do for newer players is I give them something to work for. So like a lot of people love that they can create themselves as playable characters. That's something that they can work towards. That's something they can focus as like the carrot on the end of the stick, which is why it sucks for overseas players that it feels like you don't have anything to work for because you don't have any big tournaments.
Yeah.
So you're just playing for the sake of playing, which is fine, but you need to give your players a goal. You need to give them something to strive for.
Yeah, and we've got Jonathan Yates in the YouTube chat saying bring back majors and he'll come back. And Jonathan Yates is one of the most terrifying players you'll ever sit across from in the UK. Absolute beast of a player. But you've hit the nail on the head there with if you have multiple events going on in the weekend, and because of how LCs work, you have to prioritize what has the biggest point of diminishing return. I can jump into a Universes LC, possibly get 150 if 16 people show up and an invite to Worlds, or I can join a Gundam event where the participation promo alone covers my entry. And to be fair, Queen of Monsters does that themselves, which is really cool. It's another great thing they've done. But then the top 8 and the bigger promos go into the hundreds. Grand Archives, their Ascents and their regionals. Grand Archive Regional, you get a binder. You get an actual binder to put your cards in that's customized. And for this year and for this season of regionals, you get a Lucky Dip Dragon Shield custom art sleeves just for going. For turn up to event, you get a binder, a participation promo, and 100 sleeves of one of the new Pantheon characters. That's really cool and customized to the game. And then you're working towards your national points on top of that. If you go to an Ascent, like their big regionals, the top 8 walk away with multiple hundreds. The winner of regionals here gets $150 to help them get to the next event and become a backup. The winner of an Ascent gets about $4,000. There's a massive difference there. The priority of players will always be the path of least resistance. If you can train for a Riftbound region, if you can prepare for your Pokemon League, if you can actually, like you said, work towards something, then it's great. And Sean did a great job. Don't get me wrong. Like I said at the start of this entire LC season is a testament to what the stars can do and how the players can drive this community. This entire LC round or season, whatever they want to call it, is not a win for Universes. It's not a win for UVS at all. It's a community win. This is something we did ourselves. This is something that we said, you're limiting our events. You're limiting what we can do. We're going to show you that we are here. And it's great. And it sucks. It's part of like the FOMO system of, well, if you don't go to one of the 40 events, you don't get this promo. But it's worked. What I don't... but in the UK, I mean, like we said on here, we're in the end of May. We know nothing about the European celebration. We can assume it's going to be after September when like everything's wrapped up. We can assume it's before Worlds. So that primarily means, say, October. If we get into May and we're essentially 3-4 months away from that event, and we have no details, that's
going to be really hard. A really hard ask.
It's actively harming participation, not having any details at this point. I know it was something they added on at spur of the moment because of the backlash, but I mean, fair play to the team that are doing it. I'm sure they're working very hard, but we should at least have a date and a venue and everything going on, like so people can start planning and they can start working. We just need to know what's going on, and it's that lack of information that sucks. So he was doing it there like, oh, 2027 is going to be great, and that's what the company line has been from Levi, from Guile, from everyone you speak to in the company. Where you go, it sucks that we don't have regionals. And they go, yeah, just wait for 2027. It's like, if you know what you want to do in 2027, and you're telling us that it's going to be great, why don't you just tell us? Why don't you give us something to work towards?
And I can see the fear on their end of, it would suck if they told you this far in advance and then had to change something and it would look like they're flouting on you. But I do agree that keeping everyone in the dark and doing the full silent treatment of just trust us, a lot of goodwill has been burned up right now.
Yeah.
And just trust us, UVS Games, to stay hype because we see you trying.
Yeah, it feels like UVS is treating the EU celebration as a concession, as a reward for us, as something they're doing for us out of the goodness of their heart. And for us, the players, is no, this is an apology because you abandoned us. I am absolutely gobsmacked that Oceania got the turnout it did for LCs. I half expected it to be an absolute tumbleweed fest because we're in a TCG bubble. Oceania haven't even got this to kind of work towards. it's a testament to how much people love this game in the international community that we're showing up without these things to work towards. That we're still participating in the community. Yes, we're going to complain about the organized play system, but as I said in multiple discords, it's not beating a dead horse if the horse keeps getting back up.
That is one of the darkest things I've heard in a while, but I absolutely love it. I'm not beating a dead horse till the horse stops getting up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna file that one away. I like that.
I stole it from someone else myself, but it was just a because people are like, stop being a dead horse. It's like it's not being a dead horse because it's still getting back up. The issue is still being brought up. The issue is still there. It's not a dead horse because it's still. And I love this game. I wish I'd found this game sooner, but the advertising doesn't exist. It's all word of mouth kind of thing. Outside of unless I went to Sheffield, I would probably never see this game until it became MHA, and the advertising was everywhere. And UVS have done a great job of getting these on Instagram. We get these posts of where did your university's journey come from, and what card got you into the game, and all things like that. But it's nowhere near on the social media presence of Magic and Riftbound and F&B and Magic for Magic for Law and Eclipsed got Jim Henson Company to do a Muppet advertisement, and then had Muppets come and open cards and talk about what the cards do, and they've got the money for it. But it played in. It's something I remember, and I don't play Magic, and it was something that stuck with me. You asked me what the last UVS Instagram GIF asked me what my aspects of the game. I cannot remember that, but I can remember two Muppets from MTG arguing over packs while they try and open them with their little felt hands. I can.
That's adorable.
I can tell you the last time I saw a Cyberpunk advertisement on Facebook that was talking about the free Lucy that you get for signing up your email and backing the Kickstarter that ended a couple of days ago. So that I haven't seen that in a couple of days, but it was everywhere. I can tell you that Riftbound posted things about Temu not too long ago, and we're also talking about upcoming cards that work well together as combinations. And that is something that's we get an article from Really Kaiju where Jeremy and the designers and the playtesters go through their combos. But why aren't we making those into shorts? Why aren't we putting them into Instagram and YouTube and TikTok? And so basically going,
that's what us content creators are for.
Yes, but
I don't think they really have a social media person or a social media team, but I think on advertising, could you imagine going to, I don't know what a big fighting game tournament is, what are the games where they do competitive Tekken and competitive Street Fighter?
I know they exist. I mean, Tekken's got its World Championships coming up, but even just
but imagine for that, and then you see in their stream advertisements for the upcoming UVS Tekken set.
Yeah.
Or if you pay for Crunchyroll with ads, you might get an ad that's for Universus because of all the anime IPs that we have. Because they did the video last year for the sets that we're gonna get. That was amazingly produced. Imagine doing a smaller one for Fairy Tail, and then you put that as an ad on Crunchyroll. I get that's a lot of money, but it would help with advertising. It would help with eyes on the game, and you're right. It's all word of mouth, and if you happen to walk into a store that happens to have the game, then you see it. But that's why I'm going to do this the demo for this convention in June to try to get more eyes on the game.
Yeah,
it's all about trying to reach out at more than just having your players talk about it. because we can't do all the heavy lifting
Yeah.
for the company that makes the money from this game.
But the Heroes Clash boxes, when we opened them, it had a advertisement for the Plus Ultra mobile app, but there was no advertisement for universes in the mobile app. There was no, well, yeah,
Yeah.
there was no like cross. We've got things like Critical Role have done us absolutely great, and I'm sure we had to pay through the nose to do it. But Sam Riegel did a whole skit of having the voice actors and the players be other people's characters, like you can do in universes. Absolutely amazing piece of advertisement for this game that lets them do this. You had
Or when was it Liam and Matt playing the Clash decks together?
the challenges. Yeah, they played the challenges together.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely awesome. Critical Role people were popping off in the chat like, "What the hell is this? This is amazing. This is so cool." And you had me, David Toombs, and I think one other person that were just in there answering questions in the live chat.
I was in there for a little bit, but it went a bit too late for me. Then during Wild Mount Wildlings, Marisha Ray mentions the Beauregard Star deck offhandedly during a conversation. These are absolutely great things. During the Jester Ford wedding pop-up stall in New York, the wedding promos were part of that stall. These are absolutely great tie-ins. We've got Kodansha and Hiro talking about the new upcoming fairy tale manga as part of 20 years, and I am monitoring that side of Twitter every single day to see if they mention fairy tale as part of this game, because it's a great tie-in. We had the TMNT short movie that was played before the new SpongeBob movie, where we could have had promos to tie in. You could have had stuff to tie in with that. I know these stuff get done 2 years in advance, but there's kind of this mismatch of synergies where we kind of acquire an IP and then we just don't do anything with it. We've
like the Spy Family.
Yeah, like the Spy Family, where we got it for the movie, but there was no tie-in with the movie. Hell, do you remember when Yu-Gi-Oh used to give you cards for buying their DVDs?
Yeah, I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh! The first movie came out, and there was a promo pack at the movie that came with like 2 cards out of a 6-card set.
Yeah.
Or a pack of 4 cards. I remember that.
Yeah. So
I remember going to the Dragon Ball Z Super Broly movie and getting a DBZ Broly card that I didn't even know was going to be part of the ticket sales. They're just like, here's this. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? I don't play this game.
I mean,
so I gave it to a friend of mine. I'm like, I don't care. But if we did have tie-ins like that, I think that would be good. Also, if we could get more consistently into like Walmart and Target, because maybe it's just my market, but I've never seen UVS cards in like a big box store like a Walmart or a Target. I've seen like Barnes and Noble once, and maybe Hobby Lobby had out of print cards like Heroes Clash. But if we could get on more store shelves that aren't just the brick and mortar stores like for hobby shops, I think that would help a lot too. That's how I got into Duel Masters back in the day. I just saw it on a Walmart shelf and I was like, what the hell is this? These characters look dope. Oh, it has a show on Cartoon Network. I'm going to check that out tonight. Because it was premiering that night. And I was like, I'll go watch that. And I got into Duel Masters, even though that anime is garbage. But little things like that could really go a long way for helping us out. And I know that because we're a small game and a small company, it's hard to leverage with like some of these big companies like Walmart, Target, whatever variants you may have in the UK, to get onto shelves more consistently. But it would really go leaps and bounds a long way in at least getting eyes on the game. And then if you had like inserts in those packs at the big box stores, like on the hangs, I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to have like, you crack open the cardboard thing, and behind the pack is like a little thing you could scan to open the Konami app or something.
Yeah.
And just have that to link to the UGN and have it open to like the find your local store page. That could help get more eyes in the game. That helps get more people to shops. And it could help really drive more interest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is not what I wanted to like today's conversation to be. I wanted to be about the local championship meta and like event fatigue.
Eh,
Given that
it
we've
was
got,
for a while.
given that we've got essentially 6 months of like pure gameplay, and June and July are going to be absolute nightmares. Uh,
Yeah, because we have back-to-back regionals here with Vegas and Dallas.
yeah, so it's going to be an absolute kind of nightmare, and event fatigue is a thing just like product fatigue, and I do expect these numbers to start dropping because once you've won a local championship, once you've got your worlds invite, especially like the winners of the local championships round one have no incentive to go to round two. They have a playset of everything already. They don't need to go to the round two ones.
Unless you're chasing the travel vouchers. Because say your local store only had like 9 or 10 people, you won it, you got your ticket to Worlds.
Yeah.
But let's say you see one that's already got like 16 people pre-registered, you might go to that one just to try to get the travel voucher.
Yeah, but again, but then you're not playing because you love the game. You're not playing for the sake of playing the game. You're playing to try and get the cash prizing, which to me is not.
True, but that's the whole reason I got interested in Riftbound in the first place.
Yeah,
I love the idea of cash prizing. I think that would give me definitely a reason to try harder. But I mean, at that point, like, let's just look at it from a business perspective. Does it matter why they're attending the event as long as they're attending the event?
yes.
Like, just strictly from a business numbers perspective.
No, see, but you're looking at it from a business numbers perspective in a cold, logical way. I'm looking at this
I'm a
in.
cold, logical person.
Okay, then let's look at it cold and logically in the psychology of a player. If you are a player who is wanting to attend events to optimize your point of diminishing return in terms of cash flow, at what point does it become not worth it for you anymore? If you are going to LCs to try and get the cash voucher, when do you stop bothering because you're not winning enough?
I think it depends on how good you are as a player and what your threshold for necessary returns are. If one travel voucher is enough to where once you get it, you're one and done, I would say that as long as you win that one, you're good. But if you don't win it a second time and you're thinking, or the first time, and you're like, okay, I can afford to do one more, but if I don't win that one, then it might not, it might be a diminishing return depending on how much the voucher's worth and where you're wanting to go. Because I don't think it's like it's not to the next one. You get to choose where you use that travel voucher going to.
Yeah.
So if it's just like, I'll wait and see where Worlds is, I know I only need like the $250. I'll shoot for that $250. But once you've reached that diminishing return of, well, at this point, I could try to go for a third one, or I might as well just start saving my money to go to Worlds on my own, then you can absolutely make that call.
But how do you get past the gambler's fallacy of, well, I've done my first one, I invested $40 and I didn't get it. But if I win the next one, I will, and I've invested $80, I'll be $70 up. And then you go to that one, you don't get it. Go, well, if I go to the next one, I pay the travel.
Well, there's always going to be that fallacy, but you also can think of, especially if people pre-register, you might know the quality of the players that you're playing against, and our game has a lot of variance in it anyway, so you're always going to be dealing with a gambler's fallacy, even if you're Tim Keefe or Kevin Broberg. But if you're confident enough in yourself to say, I'm pretty sure I can take this thing down, maybe I just got a little bit unlucky, I should be able to take it down if I don't get too unlucky next time. I'm sure you could say with fair confidence that would be worth the risk.
But
otherwise, don't play this game. Play Yu-Gi-Oh, where you could go first and set up an unbreakable wall on turn one every turn.
But this is a conversation I've had with players before. Once they start bubbling, once they start getting into the tops, is results-oriented thinking is going to kill your drive for this game, and it's going to burden you mentally in a very negative way. Especially when you are far away. It's something I struggled with in 2023. If I didn't top an event, if I didn't walk away with a good result, I would actively hate myself because I have invested hundreds of pounds to walk away with nothing. And I could see other people start to come down with sort of going to like investing their time, their money, their effort into events, and if they didn't top, if they didn't win, walking away with like just going, it's not worth it, and the because of how small our events are, how small our communities are, the events are almost concentrated competitive because of it. You're constantly facing the same people. You're constantly playing in the same way. It's not like a Magic event or a Yu-Gi-Oh event where you go there and you may never run into a person you know. The chance that if you play in a regional, you're going to be paired into at least one person you actually know and have communicated within this community. And if your entire drive for playing this game, if your entire purpose for playing this game is to get a result, eventually you're going to burn yourself out once you stop getting those results. And players like Kevin Broberg and Nick Reagan are great examples of players who can do really well, who have won worlds, but also know when it's time to walk away, when they don't want to play the game or focus on the results. At Worlds 2023, Kevin Broberg dropped from the last chance qualifiers. Was it 2023? Yeah.
I
Uh,
have no idea.
he dropped from the last chance qualifiers day one because he just wasn't having fun. In 2024, Nick Reagan did the exact same thing. The focus on having fun, the focus on playing the game for the love of the game is what this game is great at bringing out of people. We're not Riftbound, we're not Grand Archive, we're not these people with massive cash events where our cards and our promos are worth thousands of dollars, and the more we go towards that, the more we invite the bad actors and the scalpers and the negative players and the people that are going to ruin the play experience, as well as the mental health of players who are going to start more focusing on, if I don't get results, it's not worth me playing the game, and they drop the game.
Well, I see where you're coming from, and I do agree with that. We do want to keep a lot of those bad actors out, but at the same time, how do you grow your game and keep certain people out?
It's not about
Like sometimes your game has to have some of those people to fuel like the sales so that you can get the company to actually have more events and stuff like that. It is a very fine tightrope to walk.
yeah, it's not about keeping them out. Uh, uh, Cyberpunk has done a great job with its alpha boxes of not making them scalpable. If you want to learn more about that, go check out the response on play video that they did on that. I mean, it's blown up, so people have probably already seen it. It's got like 10, 11K views. Riftbound has its own scalping issues, and it has some of, I don't want to say the worst, but the most aggressively passionate players, with someone like threatening judges with chairs and whatnot. Back in
That's
the
just psychotic.
back in the 90s, there was a riot at a Magic event because they didn't like the outcome of some of the events. It's something that happens, but the people, for a small game like ourselves, we need to know that the bad actors are fickle. The scalpers are fickle. Unless you're Pokemon, where your cards are worth apparently $14 million, then you need to be able to keep the flame of this game alive in the love. And it's what I was mentioning before. Seeing people like Jonathan and Liam and Grant Padley, Luke, losing their drive and their passion to play this game really hurts because these are people that travelled for events. These are people that went to regionals. These are people that you could sit across from knowing that they could get results, but what was important to them was this game was fun. Those are the players that we should be trying to keep hold of. These are the players like Connor and Adam Brown and Emma from the Dobbers that travel for every event they can get to. The Hearns as well. Uh, Dan Austin, Steve Claxton, that love this game. That these micro decisions are just wearing away at them, and it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen those Japanese bamboo fountains where the bamboo like fills up and then it just comes
Yeah, and
down.
then knocks.
Yeah,
Yeah, the timekeepers.
yes. It's something that I would be thinking about because I went to the science museum locally with my son, and it was talking about how a brick will wear away into sand over thousands of years. Small, consistent damage to a player will eventually destroy them. And everyone has their threshold of what they can tolerate in this game and the decisions that are being made. And the OP was just another nail for a lot of people. And it sucks. This game is so fun. The mechanics are so unique. And this game could be so much more popular. But there's these tiny micro decisions that keep getting made that just add up, and we need to get butts in seats locally. Like Suri said, it doesn't matter if 140 people show up to regionals because unless you're hitting 500, nobody cares. But if you can get 16 people in locals consistently, that's a much bigger achievement than 130 people at regionals.
Agreed. My locals just hit like 7 or 8 people now, locally. So we're trying, we're doing good, but
Yeah. We need people that will love this game, that I find this game amazing for its mechanics, and we'll never get brand new people that love this game, that love the IPs, to stick with the game consistently. That's not the conversion targets we should be going for. We should be looking at IP fans that love TCGs, that love these games, that like I said, the Magic players that see I draw 7 cards and then the next turn I draw another 7 cards. What the hell?
I've done that. I've talked to Yu-Gi-Oh players about how this game is the most interactable game that we've ever had, where it's like there's always a back and forth. Your rival can't just wall up behind a wall of like 15 cancels on turn 1 after playing for 20 minutes on their own. There's always a back and forth. There's always something you can do.
Yeah.
And you just got to find what mechanics are better in our game than the game they're playing, and you can get that spark. You can hook them real quick.
And there's so many different ways to do it. You go to like I said, a Magic player. You get to draw multiple cards each turn. They are almost sold on that. You go to a Yu-Gi-Oh player. You go, oh yeah, everything's interactable. You get to mess about with what your opponent's doing. They're going to interact with you. There's a lot of back and forth. You're not just sat there watching your opponent combo off, hoping they don't have it. This game can turn on a dime. Your checks will decide this game. It's not just going to be who drew better. It's going to be who consistently had RNG on their side and played it well. You go to a Riftbound player who's playing these multi-symbol characters. You go, your character plays the same because you have access to both of your symbols. However, check out Godzilla, King of the Monsters. If you play them on Chaos, you're going to be more momentum based. But if you play on Earth, you're going to be more aggression based. And if you play on Water, you're going to be more defensive based. Your choices matter more in the deck building based on what your primary symbol is. But thanks to attunement, you get support from those other symbols. You get to expand how the deck plays. You get to change how much that deck plays based on one choice you made for that character, and it can blow their mind. There's so many aspects of this game which make it stand out mechanically, but what we're not doing is standing out as a card game. Before the pandemic, a multi IP fighting game card game was so unique. But what it is now is just another TCG inside the bubble.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just checking in on the finals. Apparently, it's Reiner versus Titan of Terror. Reiner's up game one, or has won game one, so now they're on game two.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And now I'm seeing why everyone was clamoring for Cardboard Crusaders. Really glad I got my set.
I don't think I have any. But yeah,
You
I
want to
guess
start wrapping up? We've been going for almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, start wrapping up. Let people head over to check out the finals if they're still here. You're half here anyway because you're still watching the finals. Because I've just seen you like type in. He checked.
I literally just checked in, and then someone was asking a question about why Calvin played a dumbfounded before he played because he was going first. And he played like 3 foundations, played a dumbfounded on a 3 because it ignores progressive, and then played another foundation. They're like, why did you play the dumbfounded and then have to check a 5 on Guardian Angel of Chinatown? I'm like, because he's going first and he doesn't have his character. So of course, when you check the 3, you want to check it on a 3, and then shoot for the 5. You at least have 4 foundations instead of 3.
This
so
isn't back,
I was just answering a question.
This wasn't like Foresight where you could look at the top card and go, "Oh, I'm going to guarantee you pass it." You forget. But yeah, thanks everyone for being in. This kind of got away. I wanted to talk more about the upcoming meta, especially seeing as how we're going into LC Season 2. I guess that we can punch that into next week. I guess we can talk about the LC Season 1 meta and how it's going to impact LC Season 2
meta.
Yeah, and we can. On top of it, actually, we can then talk about upcoming bans because we've got 2 weeks till the next ban round of bans as well. I imagine Titan of Terror will probably get touched, but personally, I don't think he needs it. That's
yeah, he's very strong, but he, like I said, if I can beat him with fresh cut grass, guys, you can do better. If me just goofing off can do it, you can do it too.
I mean, I
have faith in you all.
There was 9 in the top cuts, and the top 4 was 2 of them, and then a Mothra and a Reiner. So it is proof he is dealable with, but the fact and the players that got there are pretty cool. But we're going to wrap up there, especially since I've got to start taking Flint to school again because Easter holidays are over now, and I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday, so I need some sleep. Thanks everyone that commented, even though the finals are going on. Everyone watching this after the fact, I hope you enjoyed the points. If UVS are watching this, I hope you found this conversation constructive, and please give us EU celebration dates. If you want to get the best insights into retro or the best way to learn how to play this game, go check out the UVS Hermit School. Some of the best content on the channel. And if you want to see crazy ramblings of someone who has no idea what's going on, keep it with UK Versus. Anything from you, Cam?
Nope. I just gotta go try to figure out what's for dinner and see who's screaming in my house.
That would
sounded like someone was being murdered, and I'm like, well, hopefully that doesn't come into here.
I mean, you probably should have gone and checked on, but it's fine. I'll leave it there. We'll definitely leave it there. And big shout out to all the members that make this content. That allow me to make this content. You get access to all my content early, exclusive gameplay, and I'm so grateful to all the support people are able to give me. We're gonna wrap it up, and we'll be back next Sunday, where I'll try and find someone who wants to talk about we'll definitely try and get the LC1 meta and how to handle it going into round 2 on the books. And we'll definitely see you again then. Bye.
See you, everyone.